Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door. And we normally do the playoffs by numbers at this time of the season. We might still do it if I've got time. What we will do, though, today is we're going to look at some playoff myths. Seems like the same bunch of cliches come out every season about the playoffs. Now, look, okay. They are only played for 5 games at the end of the season. So maybe people forget and they get away with saying stuff that may or may not be true. So I'm going to have a look at the 3 biggest cliches about the playoffs. And we're going to see whether they are myths or not. In my humble opinion. And of course, you can have yours in the comments. The first myth, anybody who's watched the channel will know my thoughts already on this, but I will give my argument. The playoffs are a lottery. That is right. And everybody do something for me. Every time over this next couple of weeks you hear the playoffs are a lottery, send it to me or clip it up or let me know at Benjamin Bloom on Twitter. We'll get a montage of people saying that the playoffs are a lottery. It just seems to fall off the tongue, doesn't it? When we get, what can I say about the playoffs? Oh, the playoffs are a lottery. Of course they are. Dear, like penalty shootouts. Apparently they're a lottery as well. Maybe we'll do some research on that. Anyway, we've done the research on this. First of all, there is the definition of lottery. And they don't mean a game often organised by the state or charity in order to make money. What they do mean is that something that depends only on luck and is not fair. Something that depends only on luck and is not fair. Are we really calling the hardest league in the world, which this little competition comprises the £170 million games, elite athletes dedicating their lives to the sport? Oh dear, the slog and then getting through the playoffs, complete luck. Is that really and not fair? In jest somewhat. I know I just said don't compare it to a state lottery, but the odds of winning the lottery, you can see they're 45 million or 139 million to 1, 15 million to 1, 8 million to 1. So look, the odds of winning an actual lottery are very slim, but let's be a little bit fairer to the people who say lottery. And shall we say it like a raffle or something where everybody in it has equal chance, like 1 in 4. So we say that, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's look at the numbers. So there is your semi-final win percentage, which is massively revealing. So, look, 3rd play 6th and 4th play 5th. What would we expect? There's obviously 2 places difference between 3rd and 6th, and no places difference between 4th and 5th. So we would expect 4th and 5th to be more even than 3rd and 6th. Well, not only is 4th and 5th more even, but 50-50, by God. Exactly even. So absolutely nothing in it. That might make people argue, oh, well, it is a lottery. But is it? Or is it just 2 teams that finished really close to each other? And of the 34 tournament, we can use 34 to look at this potential myth, as in there are 3 years where you've got first division playing second division and you've got a 2-legged final. So we use all 34 and it's 17 all. Or is that a lottery? Or is that just 2 teams very evenly matched winning exactly the same amount of games? When we look at 3rd and 6th, what would we expect? We'd expect 3rd to win more games than 6th, wouldn't we? And by God, they do. Nearly 2/3 of them. 64.7% wins for 3rd in that semi-final. 35.3. So pretty much, if I'd asked you beforehand, what would you expect? If it was a lottery, to be completely literal, 25, 25, 25, 25. But no. Sorry, 50, 50, 50, 50. So we could do 25 in the final. You knew what I meant, didn't you? And to win the playoffs, there we go. 36, 22, 26, 16. And the big thing there is that 3rd wins. I think we've got, and I've only done 20. I've only done 21 for this. I can't remember my numbers. It's on my spreadsheet. I'll send you my spreadsheet if you want to doubt my numbers. But basically, third wins twice as many times as sixth, and exactly what you would expect from a league table which is designed to tell us which order the teams are from best to worst. It kind of tells us exactly what we would expect, doesn't it? So there is my conclusion. This is a myth. The playoffs can be unpredictable, but to say that they're a lottery is difficult to argue. Now look, I might be just getting in a grump, and this might be semantics and me taking the word lottery literally. Try saying that 3 times whilst drunk. Don't. But we shouldn't be saying words, should we, that don't mean exactly what we're saying. Hey, maybe I am being a little bit literal, but it's not a lottery, is it? The fact that third generally beats sixth and fourth and fifth is fairly even is what we'd expect. Sixth place has only won once in the past 15 seasons. The 90s were wilder. So it's even got more predictable as we've gone. And we're talking about figures from, 3 decades ago in the 90s that are boosting up that average as well. 1 win in 15 seasons. I do think there's 2 sixth place in a row before then, I have to say. So maybe I've picked my numbers carefully. Lies, damn lies and statistics. But it is a fact, 1 win in 15 seasons for sixth position. And also, sixth sometimes wins, but is that luck? Is an upset always luck and random? Or did the team play better on the day? Is the team in sixth on a good run? And there's some names for you. Dalglish, O'Neill, Coppell and Pardew with a very sort of favourite West Ham team, all won from sixth place. And if you know how that Dalglish Blackburn team got there and was funded, we'll talk about it later actually, you would know that, is that even an upset from sixth place? So I just want to get away from that lottery word. Yes, unpredictable can happen, but random and unfair, an even chance for everybody? No. In which case, every league in the world is a lottery then if we're gonna go to the nth degree. Anyway, I think I've made my point. Should we go on to the next one? Which says, missed out on automatic hangover. We always hear that the playoffs are a real struggle for teams that have just missed out on automatic promotion. So we know the score, don't we? This team has toiled all season, but there's 2 teams just slightly better than them. And look, let's be fair, Brentford would fit that category this season, 87 points and not quite getting up. I've got a little bit of a different brief than that, which wouldn't actually include Brentford. I'm going to look at how many teams finished less than 3 points off automatic promotion and then lost in the playoffs. So basically, if you're less than 3 points off, on most occasions, unless there's a slip by the team second place, they're already promoted and they lose the last couple of games and you catch them up. On most occasions, that spells 1 game off promotion, doesn't it? You see what I'm saying? So we're going to look at the teams that were less than 3 points off promotion and then lost in the playoffs. How many do you think there are? Go on, have a guess now. If you watch, now I haven't done all 34 seasons of this. I've done 31. So from 1990 through, basically, when we went to 2-legged semi-finals and a single final off at Wembley. How many do you reckon? 11. Quite a few. So there they are. 2020, Brentford finished third. Only a 2-point gap. Lost in the final. What I will say about that one is Fulham finished on exactly the same points and won the playoffs. So arguably, they just missed out on automatic and won it. Brighton, that was a bad one. That was an unlucky one. 2016, lost or didn't go up on goal difference. Do you remember? And they played Middlesbrough. It was second against third. God, imagine doing a watch along for that one on the last game of the season. Level on points, lost on goal difference. Lost in the playoffs, got 3 players injured within the first 50 minutes of the semi-final. Watford finished third, 2-point gap, lost in the final. Everyone forgets this after Troy Deeney scored that amazing goal. They lose to Palace in the final. So only 3 in that decade. 3 in the next decade as well. Sheffield United, 3-point gap, lost in the semi. They were 3 points off automatic promotion. Oh, God, don't talk to me about this one. Ipswich should have got promoted that season. 2005, 2-point gap to Wigan. And then there come that Pardew's West Ham that I mentioned. I think they finished 11 points behind and beat Ipswich in the semi. Wolves, 3-point gap, lost in the semi. I think they lost to Norwich, who then lost to Birmingham. They could have had a Wolves-Birmingham final there. And then we get the wonderful 90s, the unluckiest decade in playoff history. Ipswich, 99, 1-point gap off Bradford, lost to Bolton in the playoffs. Sunderland, my God, easily one of the most unlucky teams there. 90 points, I think. Middlesbrough got 91. Not only did they lose in the playoffs, but they scored 4 goals and lost on penalties, and Charlton scored 7 out of 7 penalties. So, okay, unlucky. Maybe not a promotion automatic hangover there. Reading, oh my God, Reading in 95. Reading finished second and were put in the playoffs because that was the year the Premier League was shrunk. Oh dear. So Reading, they've got to be up there with the unluckiest teams, and the automatic hangover there. Any other season, they'd be up in second. 93, Portsmouth. Oh my goodness. Goal difference, finished miles ahead of Leicester and then lost to them in the semi-finals. In 1992, Derby were 2 points off automatic promotion, lost in the semi-finals. So I think there might actually be something in this. I'm going to say this is not a myth. I actually have looked this up now. I wanted it to be a myth because I'm a grumpy old curmudgeon, but I don't think it's a myth. I think there's something in it that teams that do get very close to automatic promotion do then perhaps struggle in the playoffs, and especially given what we've said, that third place disproportionately does beat sixth. Goodness me. So in the current format, 11 of the 31 third place teams finished within 3 points of automatic and lost in the playoffs. Given that third place wins more in general, this does seem to have some validity. Things were much crazier in the 90s. More evidence that football has got stuck in its hierarchies in the past 10 to 15 years. Do you agree? Maybe the Premier League getting richer and richer and richer, and the gap between the Championship and the Premier League growing, and all that brings has made things a bit more predictable. 1 sixth place winner in the last 15 seasons. And the 90s was crazy. We saw all of those teams that had nearly gone up automatically and then not won the playoffs. 5 of them in the 10 years, in the 10 seasons, we classed them 90 to 99 as that decade. So I'm gonna go with that cliche and say it's not a myth. Let's look at the last one. Someone always goes on a run and comes from nowhere. You've heard it said, the playoffs are a lottery, and someone always comes from nowhere, goes on a late run at the end of the season and gets into the playoffs and wins them. No, they don't. Should we have a look at the numbers? So I'm going to look at where the playoff winners were 30 games into the season. So that's 65% of the season. I think that's long enough to go on a run and come from nowhere, isn't it? The last 35% of a particular season. 16 games to go on your run for 48 points to play for. Have a guess. What do you think happened? How many teams do you think had big runs, maybe from the bottom half up into the top half, and then won the playoffs from that distance? Not many. There are the winners from the furthest back after 30 games. So take a bow. Crystal Palace, 2004. Was that Ian Dowie and Andrew Johnson? Am I getting my years right? I think they beat Mick McCarthy's Sunderland in the semi as well, didn't they? Sensational. Neil Shipley in the final. I'm trying to remember. Get all my playoff years mixed up. Palace were 13th after 30 games and won the playoffs. That sounds to me like a late run and coming from nowhere. Blackpool, impressive. Now, I believe Blackpool are our last 6th place winner, aren't they? If there's only been one in the last 15 seasons. They were 10th at the 30 game mark in 2010 and went on, I think they won from 6th place, didn't they? Then Villa were 9th, West Ham were 9th. Let's be honest, that's 2 very big clubs in the Championship, isn't it? We know Villa won 10 out of 10. So they did go on the run. Did they come from nowhere? Was it an upset? I'm not so sure. Burnley were 8th Hull were 8th and Birmingham were 8th in those respective years. But come on, if you're 8th, you only need to go up 2 places to get into the playoffs. I'll give you Palace, that's amazing. I'll give you Blackpool as well. But really, climbing 3 places in 16 games, is that the standard? I don't know if I'm having it. The average winner's position difference between game 30 and 46 is 0.54 positions. That tells its own story, doesn't it? So the average playoff winner in the past 31 years has moved less than 1 place toward their final position on average over those 31 seasons. So your Palace going up 7 places or 8 places or whatever it was, 13th to 5th or something, they're a real outlier. On average, the playoff winner moves half a position between game 30 and game 46. So essentially, when we're looking at game 30, remind me next season, our playoff winner will probably be in or around the position they're going to finish and win the playoffs. Go figure. The teams that are consistently there all season are more likely to win than the ones coming from nowhere. But this myth has to have come from somewhere. Just take a look down at Blackburn there. Blackburn are the opposite of this. In 1992, Blackburn were first after 30 games. I think they lost 6 on the trot, dropped 5 positions to finish 6th, and then won in the playoffs. So for my nice average, Blackburn are cancelling a lot out. How many Blackburn players can you name in there? Colin Hendry. You see Mark Atkins. Alan Wright. Is that him holding the teddy at the front? Mike Newell. We all know that Blackburn team had some great players. They were like Wolves 20 years before Wolves did it. Had loads of great players in the Championship and bustled their way through it easily. But you take my point, the opposite can be true as well. And that's the maximum. The furthest you can fall to finish in the playoffs is 5 positions, and Blackburn did it. So I'm not having it. Conclusion, it's a myth. Only 2 teams below 9th position at game 30 have gone on to win the playoffs in 31 seasons. Again, we'll use the 31 season metric because we've got teams in the top division for the first couple of those. On 17 out of 31 occasions, the eventual playoff winner was in a higher position and dropped into their playoff spot. So over half, the majority of winners were actually in a higher position at game 30, let alone coming out of nowhere to win, and dropped into their position. Maybe the teams that go on good runs actually get automatic, and, well, you tell me. Average movement is virtually non-existent, 0.54 positions. So there we go. 2 of them I think are myths. 1 of them I'll go with. I think I'm being reasonable. Here's my final thought, Springer's final thought. So, on the 3 myths, the playoffs can be unpredictable, but they're not a lottery. I'm not having it. You've got to pick a better word than lottery. Random and unfair. I know it feels like that. Believe me, you're speaking to an Ipswich fan here. 8 playoff campaigns, 1 win, twice finishing 3rd and losing to 6th in the playoff semi-finals. If anyone, any set of fans could think, I know Brentford fans and Preston fans, but they're in different divisions. I'm only doing Championship here, aren't I? If any set of fans would think the playoffs are unfair, maybe it's Ipswich fans. But hey, unfair or not the best team on the day in the knockout tournament are 2 very different things. And unpredictable and lottery are 2 very different things as well. Teams that closely miss automatic do seem to struggle. I will give you the automatic hangover. So I do think the playoffs does seem to go against teams that just miss out on automatic promotion. I don't think that's a cliche. I think it might actually be true. You tell me. And the 3rd one, no, nobody really goes on a run from nowhere to win. It very, very infrequently happens. Again, Palace, amazing. Blackpool from 10th up and getting in there. Look, it's a 46-game season. The proof is in the pudding, and it's very, very hard to, go on that late run and make a difference. Has the muscle memory of the teams up there. They all improve during the season, don't they? It's hard to knock them off. Look, that was my playoff myths and facts. Supposed to be a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously in the comments. But I've had my say, and you are, of course, allowed your say too. I will hear you out. I'm interested to hear as well my actual working out. Is my working out valid? Has, for example, I had some Norwich fan trying to argue with me that parachute payments were fair because some teams got promoted without them. And I was sort of, okay, so you're using Wolves and Fosun and Bournemouth breaking FFP and Leicester breaking FFP and Brighton making a huge loss as your example for, So let me know if you think there's a better way of working out whether they're a lottery or not, or whether teams come from nowhere. Should I have gone from further back? I think 35% of the season is enough as well. So let me know what you think, and let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. But that was supposed to be a little bit of fun, a little bit more informal. Look, if you want the playoff by numbers video, do let me know in the comments. But look, let's lighten the atmosphere before the tension and the chaos begins. That is my playoff myths. 2, I think debunked, but 1, I think possibly confirmed. Over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.